Yeah.
Oh, I just sent her.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Deal. My name is Brady. I'm your producer, and I got Trevor, our wonderful host, with us, and our guest, Keith Sant. What's up, Keith? So today we're talking about my contractor bailed on me deal. Give me a 30,000-foot view of the what's up with this deal.
So yeah.
Going through some litigation with them, and he got the okay to sell. So he gave me a call, and he wanted to finish it out, but just couldn't make it happen. He got a job offer in Dallas that he couldn't refuse and needed a bounce. So he wanted a cash offer and close on the day of his choice.
I like it. And guys, we've got Lily, the mascot, with us today. You want to say hi, Lily? She's not a very big podcaster. But guys, welcome to the second episode of Behind the Deal. So last 2 weeks ago, actually, we had Mr. Bo Hollis on, and we got a lot of amazing feedback. Bo and Keith were in office this week at Carrot Camp, and so we've been hanging out. We did some cool stuff yesterday, man. We went out shooting yesterday.
Yeah. Me and Bo went up to Crater Lake, and
Crater Lake.
Yeah, that was so beautiful. Roseburg, this whole area is just amazing, and that's why I keep coming back.
Yeah, this is Keith's fourth or fifth time down here?
Fifth.
Keith's fifth time down here to Carrot Camp, guys, and so amazing group. But we're going to talk about this deal here, and that was one of the coolest things that popped up at Carrot Camp discussions when we have these amazing high-level investors and agents in the room. Is people started to talk about how they're doing in an aggregate way, like, hey, here's how many deals I'm doing, here's the numbers we're doing, amazing things. But oftentimes you don't get to really dive in on the deal, right? Start to finish. How do we get the lead? What happened when I talked to that seller or buyer? How did the deal go down? Were there any things that were weird or tricky about the deal? And so if you're new to Behind the Deal, it's a new series we have here at Carrot every other week, every other Thursday at noon Pacific time. We're going to be breaking down one deal in detail with one of our top customers. Keith is going to be on probably pretty darn consistently. Bo Hollis will be on a good bit. We're going to have some others on as well. So last thing, someone says they can't hear. You got it? You can hear? Okay, cool. It says I'm on mute here. You got it? Okay, cool. Awesome. We're all good. Beautiful. So what we're going to do today, guys, is Keith and I are going to play a video that we have of the deal. And that's one of the things we do with Behind the Deal is we're going to be playing a video. You get to see the deal, see the property a little bit, talk about it. And then we're going to answer questions. So if any of you guys and gals have questions, please ask the questions. How did you get the lead? What about this? What did you say to the seller here? You can even ask questions outside of this one deal. And we want to continue to build this up. Share this as well. So if you know of anybody who's an investor or an agent, guys, go in the comments box right now and tag them to this and say, hey, Marcia, come check this out and learn what they're doing. So before we dive into this deal, let's spend like a minute really quick, Keith, for those who don't know who the heck you are. Where's your market, number one? And then number two, about how many deals a month are you doing? How many are with Carrot versus other types of marketing? Then we're going to introduce this deal.
Okay. Yeah. Keith Sant from Seattle, Tacoma area. And my company's named Kind House Bars. And I do anywhere from like 7 to 10 deals a month, sometimes more. Most of them in the Tacoma area. And I started branching out in other cities and states. But I'd say about 80% of my deals are Carrot deals.
Awesome work, man. Didn't used to be that way.
No,
used to be like tons of bandit signs, and I can't remember. Were you in cold calling at one point way back when?
I hated cold calling with a passion. So so I was like, how do I not do that? So I did well over 200,000 ringless voicemails, and closed a majority of my first deals that way.
Cool. I like it. I like it. Well, guys, let's pull the video up. So we're going to introduce this deal. It's the My Contractor Bailed on Me deal. And let's hit play. We'll roll.
Not really pumped about this bedroom. I mean, I'm sure the kid was. What? Man. Wish my parents were that cool. What up, guys? Keith from Kind House Bars.
Just walking into a house just closed on today. The sellers did about 80% of the work. Got it almost there. We're gonna finish it. Got screwed over by their contractor. Taking the contractor to court. New carpet. All the doors and everything, the remaining doors needed for the house are there, including this ugly front door. 3 bathrooms that were all done and done pretty nicely to a 4th bedroom, which is perfect. Check out this beautiful stone. They put this beautiful stone on these old, ugly, damaged cabinets. Got it for a good deal. Got it for $450, and ARV is conservatively $6. Diamond plated everything. Baseboard trim, some wallpaper, even the closet doors. The other 2 bathrooms look very similar and pretty stoked. So bathrooms could definitely eat up a rehab budget, and this house is not gonna need it. This is a little tricky. This deal had a buyer locked up real fast. Called me last Friday while I was in Chicago and said, Keith, man, I'm really sorry, but I can't close on it. I proposed a solution, still wasn't in the cards for him, and so I called my buddy and we were able to close it in 5 days. It's done, I'm excited, and off to the next one. Hopefully you'll be seeing some more from me in Kind House Buyers.
I've got a few things. I want to dive in with you on this one here. So the first thing, this lead came from what? Again, let's kind of review it from people. Where'd this lead come from?
It was a Carrot phone call.
Cool. Carrot phone call, Google search.
Yeah, Google search.
And so one thing we were talking about at Carrot Camp that literally you guys went to lunch at a soup shop down the road, and you helped someone with the Google My Business. You're like a Google My Business master. And that's something, guys, we want to teach a lot more to y'all too. But did this one come from a Google My Business lead from the Google search there, or straight up they did a Google search, someone house fast Tacoma, landed on site?
Yeah, they called me directly from my Carrot phone number. Okay. So it was an organic search, and
cool.
Yeah.
So that's one thing right there. So guys, those of you that are doing the online marketing side of things with Carrot, Keith is big on using Google My Business and claiming that. And you're mentioning at Carrot Camp, and you kind of alluded to it just now. Do you have different phone numbers for your Google My Business versus your Carrot site?
I do, yeah. Okay. I have different phone numbers for each marketing channel. So even if they come in from a pay-per-click, I'll do like a dynamic number swap through CallRail, or I will swap out, in the market settings, the phone number on a landing page just for pay-per-click.
Gotcha.
Same with Facebook leads. And so they all have their own tracking number. I know where they came from. I know where my marketing dollars are best spent.
Guys, listen to this right here, because one of the biggest things with marketing, there's this famous quote that I heard years ago. And it's something like, it's been around for like 100 years. And it's something like, half of your marketing doesn't work, but most people don't know which half, right? And so with this here, you always know if you have tracking in place, you always know, man, this one did come from Google My Business. It's a different phone number through CallRail, or this one did come from my Carrot site, or this one did come from this certain page in my Carrot site that's for this city, and I'm driving a Google ad to it, and so use a different CallRail phone number for it. So that's a big one, guys. Make sure you're tracking those that way. And we can show you in future videos too. Use our campaign tracking links for your paid ads and social. So then you know it's working. So dude.
Exactly. I use that campaign link a lot, especially with the Google My Businesses, because otherwise it'll just show that it was organic or Google, but I use a campaign tracking link in all my Google My Business, the make appointment, the main website. And so I create a campaign called GMB or Google My Business, Seattle, Atlanta, whatever. And then when it comes through, I see in Carrot that it was a Google My Business, and then I'm able to just swap that over my CRM.
So you showed that. I'm not going to share my screen yet, but you showed that at. I'm going to pull something up here in a second, guys, because this is important on the tracking side of it. Okay, once again, we're going to get into the situation with the seller a little bit more, kind of how it went down, diving into a little bit more of the numbers as well. But one thing I want to do right now, guys, is kind of dive into the tracking side a little bit more. And I want to show you inside of, if you're cool with it, Keith, inside of your campaigns deal. Because when you were showing,
so this one, so a lot of my Google My Businesses are on different URLs. You could see one, but like my Sell My House company, that one will have more leads and clicks than any other one. But I mean, you could see that one in Seattle, 9 leads, and I'm able to see that it was directly attributed to Google My Business.
Dude, guys, use the campaign tracking links inside of Carrot. Keith is using a bunch. You can see using for Facebook ads, using for retargeting ads. So you can tell which ones are working. But then this one right here, like you said, Keith has multiple websites with us, and he mainly uses the other website that has a really, really good direct match URL for his Google My Business. And then just like he did in here, come in here, create a new campaign link. And then you grab that link right there, and that is the link now that you put inside of Google My Business when asked for your website, right? Cool. So now you can tell which leads actually came from Google My Business, guys. I love it. So we're going to bounce back to the deal. So you've got the tracking in place. The call came in. Are you taking the calls yourself, or do you have someone else taking the calls?
I do take them myself. And honestly, this guy called. I was in another appointment. I missed the call. He left a voicemail. And then right after he left a voicemail, like I sends out a little auto thing. Hey, my hands are tied up.
Gotcha.
You know, what's the address? He typed out the address. I saw that. I texted him right back. You know, call you right back. That was perfect. I got out of the appointment and he was ready to go. I shot right over to his house and went on the appointment. So
let's kind of dive in a little bit, Keith. So once you show up to a house, number one, right now with your business, you mentioned you do 8 to 10 deals a month. You have a really cool setup of your business because you're not doing every part of it yourself. You have partners that you send leads and deals to. Is this one where you brought in a partner to help you with it, or did you take it from start to finish, from call to close?
I brought a partner.
Okay.
I brought a buyer to my appointment.
Okay, cool.
I said, hey, bud, I got a hot appointment. I know you like the area. Ready for a new one? He's like, let's go.
That's really, really good right there. Because if you have a buyer that you know is buying in that area, awesome tip, dude. Like, call them up, because number one, they're probably pumped about it because they get the inside track on it with Keith early. But then number two is you have the buyer, they can physically see it. You don't have delays in the transaction. So if the person needs to close quickly, if your seller needs to close quickly, having the buyer there is a massive, massive advantage with it.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Hey, I got a question real quick, Trevor. I want to back up just for a quick second. Get a lot of people, they're like, yeah, I get a bunch of leads, but I can't close them or whatever. There's too much competition. What's your window? How long do you have to follow up with someone before you've lost it to somebody else?
I try to follow up with them as soon as possible, right? Like that auto text, helps. That auto email helps. One thing that I started implementing, which I learned from the last Carrot Camp, I started using a Calendly link.
Dude, I saw that. I saw you posted something where you got some appointments and deals from that.
I've closed 8 deals now from people that booked their own appointment since the last Carrot Camp in 6 months. 6 months ago. So and that's been huge. And I was just telling Tim outside that I actually closed the deal because of the Calendly link.
Really?
I didn't want to go on it. It was like an hour and a half away, and I was just like, it's way out there. I'm busy. I didn't even follow up with the guy. And like three days later, he books an appointment. It was like 10 o'clock at night for a 9 a.m. appointment. I'm like, I can't call him right now to cancel. I guess I'm going. I went on the appointment, and he was like, hey, I'm Keith. Nice to meet you. He's like, hey, thanks for coming. Like, I called 3 other people. You're the only one that came. And now I'm thinking, okay, he's motivated now. Like, he knows, like, I'm his only option. So I was able to, I did a $30,000 assignment. I JV'd it with a buddy. I made $15,000 off a deal that I wouldn't have even gotten because I was going to let it just go if I didn't have that Calendly link. So,
dude, let's Brady, bring up the screen real quick. So those of you guys and gals watching this right here, we're going to walk you through the deal, but also give you the tactics along the way to make adjustments to the way that you're doing the marketing. So this is a page that Keith is mentioning on his site. So the Kind House Buyers, after someone submits the step 1, then they go to the step 2 page, which gets more information. And then it's after they submit that, it lands in this page. It says, thanks. So what's next? Thanks for telling us a bit about your house. Once we get the email, we'll dive into it. We'll give you a call within 24 hours, So this is what you added in here. This section.
Or, I'm going to call you to schedule an appointment. Or if you want to skip the call, just schedule an appointment now.
That's awesome. So you can also schedule an appointment for us to come look at your house and make you a firm cash offer now. Click this button. It pulls open the Calendly link. And then on here, it's the 30th today. So you pretty much have, it's just wide open, obviously, in there. So they can pretty much pick anytime they want to during business hours. Yeah. This is cool, dude.
And then you go forward to the next month. There's some blockouts like, dude, got a busy schedule, kind of.
That's right. Cool. So Yeah, shout out to Mr. Chris Bello from the last Carrot Camp who gave that tip. And it was cool because I saw Chris saw your post and then he shared up your post on Instagram, I think, said, amazing when people actually execute what they learned. So that was fun.
And some people only, you get people that only fill out that step 1 form, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not able to get them on the thank you page, but that auto email still goes out. I edited in the auto email, like, hey, thanks. How fast are you looking to sell? Also, you can schedule an appointment now if you want to schedule an appointment with a buyer.
Gotcha.
And I found the people that schedule an appointment, there's a different level of interest there. Like they're ready to go. Like they're ready to have someone at their house, not just, hey, what would you pay for my house?
Gotcha.
They're not tire kickers at that point. They want an appointment.
That is cool, dude. So I think it's this one. I'm going to share this really quick, guys, and just kind of show it to you if this is the one. It's probably a different one. This must not be the one that you're using.
Yeah, it's set up through my CRM.
I got you. Cool. Perfect. Cool. Awesome, guys. So make those couple adjustments. Test out putting a Calendly link on your thank you page for the people who just can't hop on a call now and they might want to do it in 2 hours or tomorrow morning. And then number 2, update that email notification that goes out, or even text message notification. So if you have a text notification that goes out to the seller and they haven't set something up, you could even say, hey, if you haven't already set up an appointment, tap this and set up an appointment or something.
I think it helps stop the scroll. I think I've been not having to compete with other offers as much because once they schedule that appointment, they're not going to jump to that next website again.
Gotcha.
All the other ones like, hey, someone will call you in 24 hours and they're like, oh, okay. And then they go to the next one. And the next thing you know, oh yeah, I'm getting 3 different offers. Yep. I'm usually the only offer.
What's the show up rate? Like, as far as that call or that appointment, how many of them are actually showing up to the appointment they schedule?
The seller, I've had people, they're able to cancel if they need to. I've had people postpone. Yep. I'm able to cancel. Right. But at least I got them on the book and I could cancel if I want. And then also I'm able to look and see, is there any equity? Is this something? And if not, I send an agent there as a buyer that then flips to a listing or whatnot. And I still get a commission. So
I like it. So we got the lead that came in. He is leveraging the Calendly addition on his thank you page to make sure that the sellers have that outlet to be able to schedule anytime they want. You brought your buyer to the meeting with you, which is really, really awesome. Was there anything you saw in that transaction that jumped out to you as man, this right here was going to need a lot of work? Or there's the cabinets you're pointing out in the video, amazing granite, but then just crappy cabinets. Anything that jumped out to you or the buyer that's like, it's going to take a lot of work or a lot of expense that's going to lower the offer?
Right. So with that was a higher price point than usual. We're in Tacoma. Like I got it for $450, but that was still pretty high. Like, the average house in Tacoma sells for $450 or less ish. Like we're in a high price neighborhood. That buyer actually wasn't the buyer that got it. He's like, honestly, Keith, this is, a little too nice. He wants too much,
Gotcha.
But, so that was cool. Found a new buyer and it wasn't a buyer that I worked with before. I met him at an REI thing and he was a super sweet guy. And I wanted to, he wanted a deal. He said he was struggling. So I knew his lender. And so I signed it to him like literally the next day. And it was a 60-day close because the guy wasn't ready to close. It was actually like 70 days. So everything was just going cool. The lender required an appraisal, which I already knew that lender did and I didn't like. But he calls me. So it's supposed to close on a Tuesday. He calls me the Friday before and tells me he can't close on it. I'm in Chicago. 60 days goes by. And you want to tell me 5 days before closing? Like, I'm like freaking out, right? Because like I set my business up to be less stress-free as possible. Like, so I'm not now showing multiple buyers. I don't have, all this other stuff that goes along. And I like to work with people that, close and, we got good relationships, but I was trying to, everyone's like, oh, Keith, you get all these deals, put me on your list. And I'm like, I sell all my deals to like 5 people that have bought deals from me before and are solid and close. And, so anyways, that was unfortunate. And so I called the seller immediately and I'm like, hey, we might just have to push it a couple of days. And he was like, what do you mean, Keith? Like, I got the moving trucks.
Oh, really?
The moving trucks are here. My family's already in
gosh.
Dallas. We're doing a simultaneous close.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm on vacation in Chicago. And I'm like, what the heck? And I called my buddy. Actually, the same buyer I brought. I said, are you sure you don't want this? What
was his reason? What was the reason?
There just wasn't a lot of profit for taking his crew, and that it just didn't make sense for him on that. Like when you could buy a $200,000 house and have 2 deals going instead of one, and with thin project.
Do you take earnest money with your buyers?
I do, and I usually do 5,000. I made that guy put up 10 because there's a new buyer.
Yeah.
So he walked away and so when he called me and I'm like, what do we do here? Like, hey, and the reason was the appraisal came in, whatever, low-ish. And the lender went from like $75,000 down to purchase the property to now he wanted like 110 or something.
Oh, really?
And he was just like, Keith, bro, like I might have that, but it's going to put me too thin. Like, I just can't do it. And I'm like, this was not an ideal solution for me, but I have an obligation to the seller. I'm going to make this thing happen. I said, well, what if I forecast, what if I put up the rest, you still close on it, and I get 20% of the flip profit?
Okay.
So how much, you plan on making like 50, 60, I get 20, get this done on time for the seller. And he said, let me call you back in a few minutes. And he texted me and just said, yeah, I can't do it.
Oh man.
And that I didn't want to do it anyways, but now I'm thinking, what am I going to do? I got to get, I have an obligation. Like there's a lot riding with the simultaneous close, the family, the moving truck showing up on Monday to take him so he can meet his family so they could close. And so I called, my buddy was like, hold on a second. One of our other buyers, he's like, let me call him. He called him. The guy was okay, boom. He decided to take it, but even with that short of a window, I could not close it on Tuesday. Like Friday to Tuesday, switching a buyer, changing everything on title. Just it's not in the cards. Like we've closed it fast, but not 2 day, not 2 day fast. So the seller was not happy, but he was able to delay his close a little bit, and we were able to close the following Friday.
Cool.
So from the day I heard about it to the day, but still, when I tell a seller we close on the day of our on the day of his choice. We closed on the day of his choice. So that was something that hadn't happened to me in like a year.
Yeah.
So but it was a little stressful, but got it done and on to the next one. But yeah.
Dude, there's a few key lessons here, guys. If you guys are just now tuning in, this is our new show at Carrot called Behind the Deal, where we bring on our amazing clients. This one happens to be in office, which is a treat because we're usually beaming in over the internet. So Keith is here this week. Last week it was Bo Hollis, and Bo actually was in the office this week. He just flew out a little bit ago. But we just broke down a deal. If you haven't seen this, if you just came in now, reverse back after this live stream is over and watch the whole front of it because Keith walks through the house, has a video of the whole thing. And we show exactly where the deal came from, how he tracked it, what you guys need to do to make adjustments on your marketing and your tracking, some really cool things you can do. So, dude, one of the things that you pointed out, I think is really, really important, like especially as we're talking to real estate agents, as the wholesale side of the industry is coming together with the retail side, like I've been talking about for years, is there's always been this weird stigma for years about on the retail side thinking that wholesalers are for some reason taking advantage of people, right? Because you'll hear a lot the agents who don't know the market well, the wholesale market well, they'll say, why would that seller ever accept less than retail, right? Why would they not list with me? Well, the reason is exactly what Keith walked through. It's a complicated situation. Had a move he had to have happen really, really quickly. The house wasn't in great shape. Like he's probably not going to sell the house at a premium with diamond plate all over the place, all over the doors and trim and stuff and everything else that happened. And just issues with the contractor bailing with the stuff and then the house not being really in amazing shape. This is exactly why investors are needed in the market, because they take the toughest of the toughest situations, solve the problems, find the buyer who's able to do it. Buyer switches, Keith doubles down, solves the problem. You get paid well to solve big problems. And so if you're an agent watching this going, why didn't that person just put it on the market? Because they couldn't. They didn't have the time to do it. and possibly might not have even been able to get as much out of the deal after waiting, having to pay double mortgages for a while, or maybe they couldn't even buy the house down there because they had to be done with their mortgage with the first house before they could buy the house in Texas. So it's big problems you guys solve.
Well, he had an agent. He had a really good friend that was an agent, and his agent was like, put it on the market. He did not want to. If that agent would have offered a cash offer, he would have been able to get it. But I came in. He's like, I don't want the uncertainty. I don't want my family to go through the uncertainty, and everything else you just mentioned. So
it's speed and convenience, dude. You guys move fast, and it was very, very convenient, which is awesome. And you saved the day, dude. And that's one of the biggest things, guys. If you're an investor watching this, and you're one of the ones that are maybe newer, and you've seen the different people in the forums that say, hey, put all these clauses in, just back out of the deal. You know, what's your thought on that, Keith, as far as how do you handle those transactions if they don't quite, like, let me ask you this question a little bit different way. Do you ever back out of deals that you make an offer on just because you couldn't find a way to make it happen?
That's what I was wanting to know. I was going to ask you before you said, like, how many out of all the deals you've done over the last couple of years have you've had to make that decision?
So I have no clauses in my contract to back out. Cool. No escape. And I learned it from Beto. I remember the first deal that me and him had together, not the first one, but there was one that was really tough. I mean, we were trying to sell this thing. I was posting everywhere, had 100 people come look at it. And like, I'm thinking, I asked Beto, I was like, cool. Like, what do you want to do here? Are we just going to cut bait? And he was like, no, we're going to keep pushing it. And I'm like, okay. And so we kept pushing it and kept pushing. It took like 2 more weeks and it sold.
Gotcha.
There's always a buyer for something, given enough time and enough people see it, there's someone that will buy anything. And that's like, so when I started my own business, Kind House Buyers, I brought that in. Like, dude, I have an obligation to seller. I don't have there are sometimes where I'll say, hey, we do need an inspection. Like there's some funky foundation issues. I don't know if it's 10 grand or 100 grand to fix that. So we do have to put something, to figure out what's going on. But I've only lost 2 deals. And one, it was a turd and it was way out in the middle of nowhere. And the guy just was not going to drop price whatsoever. And he knew I was wholesaling. He was cool with it. And he just decided he was going to scrap the house and put a mobile. And really? And we're so frank. He sent me a lead a couple of days ago. He said, hey, this house, I think it would make a good investment for you. And here's the lady's info. And so I went on that appointment, which was awesome. Still really good friends. And then just one other one. But anyways, out of the hundreds of deals I've done, I've only not been able to close 2.
Dude, and guys, that's a reputation thing, right? Because one thing that you'll hear, whether it's through our friend Pace Morby, where he picks up a lot of deals down in Phoenix from people who couldn't fulfill on their promise, from wholesalers who said, I'll buy at this, but they weren't the buyer, or they had no real full intention to actually follow through on the purchase. And what it does, it actually creates a bad reputation for the industry. And so I'd really challenge everybody, especially if you're newer, that if you have the clause in there, I mean, the clause is fine, right? But don't go in with the intent of, oh man, in case I'm not able to get this done, I'm going to back out on that seller, put them, leave them high and dry because my clause saves me. The real question is, how are we solving problems for the client? Okay, the client is number one. The seller is number one. Getting Keith's seller so he can move down to Dallas because the trucks were there, and then the double closing and making sure that the seller was taken care of was Keith's number one. He could have easily backed out and said, oh man, my buyer backed out. Hey, we're just gonna have to give up on the deal. And now it leaves the seller high and dry and just massively impacts that person's life. And maybe costs them thousands and thousands more. Maybe makes it so they now can't buy their house down in Texas because it's going to take another 2 to 3 weeks to find a buyer. And then also it's going to erode the trust that person now has in home buyers. And who knows how many people he's going to tell? Who knows how many people are going to then hear about that, and it starts to spread this mistrust that home buyers don't follow through on it. So guys like Keith and tons of our other clients follow through on the deal. It's not about the check in your pocket. It's about solving the seller's problem better than anyone else could. And you get paid well for solving problems, not paid well for bailing on people's problems. Anything else, dude, on the deal that popped up that was interesting? So you closed the deal with the new buyer. And what was, just remind people who are popping on here, what was the profit on this deal for you?
So originally it was a $15,000 assignment.
Mm-hmm.
And with the new buyer, I cut it down, $2,500.
Yep.
So now it's $12,500. But I also got the $10K Earnest money.
Gotcha.
So I ended up making more.
Gotcha.
But
yep.
Yeah. And back to just what you were just talking about, it's a little off topic, but if you know what your offer is, and there's 3 other people competing, don't just be the highest offer just to be the highest offer.
Yep.
Like I've talked to people, like I did one kind of recently, this lady, she's like, I love you, Keith, but this other person's offering way more. And I was like, hey, if they can close, do it. Like that's amazing. If they can't, I'm here. It's a good offer. She called me a month later. She took actually less than my offer.
Oh, really?
And I still made was able to make 20 grand. That guy offered more than I could wholesale it for. No reason why he couldn't, yeah. Anyways.
Dude, so why, in that situation, why do you think she called you back? Because she probably looked at probably wasn't just that guy and you. There's probably other options she looked at too. So why did she call you back, do you think?
I don't know. I was just honest with her. I wasn't pushy. I just said, hey, it's kind of where I'd have to be at to make anything happen. I wish you the best of luck. If you want to list it, I have an agent. They could probably get you more if you put it on the market. Yep. If you got time and energy to, go that route. Otherwise, like for me and my crew, I'd be here.
Yep.
And we had the first thing I pulled up behind her car and it said like, I love my Yorkie. And before I even said, hi, I'm Keith, I was like, what's your Yorkie's name?
Oh, gotcha.
And she just loved that. I'm talking about her dog for 20 minutes before I even introduced myself.
Yeah.
I talk about the people, not the property. I got eyes. I can see the property. Yep. I'm not going to ask her a ton of questions and stuff like I need to know. I'm talking about her. I'm talking about her plans or, her wants or needs. And
building trust, right? Building trust between the way you show up at the house, the way you talk to the person, like truly get to know them, like truly care for the person, get to know the person. They're a person, they're not a pathway to a check. And I think that's the biggest thing when we look at our core values here at Carrot. Be a beacon of positivity and possibility, take initiative and show that you care. And there's other one, craft amazing experiences. There's add humanity to business. It's like we want to shove these same values into the industry, into our customers, and have you guys take those values and bake in your own as well, and then really elevate this industry, the house buying industry, which is becoming more and more mainstream, right? You have your Open Doors, your OfferPads, your Zillows, KWs getting into the game, EXPs getting into the game. This is not going away. It's only getting bigger. The big thing is, for you as an investor and as an agent, how do you solve your seller's problem better than anyone else? And how do you show up to the market being the trusted person? And one of the big ways you do that is with your Carrot site. If they find you and they Google you, they see all of Keith's reviews and his videos and all that stuff. It's like, man, this guy's legit. He's a good guy. Like, he's closed on a bunch of houses, and the videos that he has with the other sellers, he solved the problem similar to mine. And then they, another person with a higher offer follows through. They go back to shoot, who's the guy that I trusted? It's this guy over here. So that's awesome, man. I love it.
Hey, I'm gonna link up a podcast. So Keith's been on the podcast. I don't know, what is this, 9th time? We did an SEO series recently. Keith was a part of. That was great. So we'll link that up, a 4-part series on SEO, which we're going to be doing more of that in the future. But I'm also going to link up a podcast where he did with where Keith was with his business partner Beto that he was talking about down in Texas. And they actually closed over 70 deals together before ever meeting in person. So I thought that was pretty cool. And the first time they ever met in person was showing up at Carrot Camp for the first time.
That was an awesome story, dude. So you guys closed a bunch of deals, and then right here at Carrot Camp, you guys met, went river rafting with Coach Paul. That was cool.
Yeah, no, that was quite the experience.
Have you guys got together since then?
Yeah, about 6 months ago, I took a week off and I went down there. I told you, I actually saved a guy's life in front of me.
Dude, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
It was really cool.
That was wild. He's awesome, dude.
So this part of the episode, we like to do something on this new show Behind the Deal called Tips That Actually Work. And so before we started the show, I said, hey, Keith, today the tip's going to be about citations. But I almost want to pivot because we've been talking about phone numbers. I'll leave it to your choice, Keith, unless somebody wants to make a Francisco says, just got a carrot lead watching this. That's what's up.
Nice.
It's already
nice.
working.
And he
He's
closed one.
influencing.
He closed one of his first carrot deals the other day.
Francisco did?
Yeah, in
Dude.
Portland. Yeah, I've been talking to him about 6 months. I've been giving him.
Oh, that was the text message you showed me?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, give him an action plan.
Yeah.
He's like, Keith, I did this. It's where what next? And I give him another one. And yeah, we've been friends now for like 8 months or so.
Francisco, congrats, man, dude. With that deal, hit us up, DM me or DM me on Instagram or Facebook, wherever it looks like you're watching this on the YouTube side, and give me your address, and then we'll get you out some cool carrot swag to celebrate that first carrot deal, man. Awesome work, dude.
Oh, I love
Thanks
it.
for helping with
That's
that,
awesome.
Uh-huh.
If you're watching or if you're listening to this on the podcast after the fact, like we do these a couple weeks prior on Facebook and YouTube, so come feel free to join the live chat, live Q&A. We do this every other week. But Keith, I'll let you decide unless somebody comments. We can talk about citations, kind of like tips on how to get started. Why are citations important? What the heck are they? Or we could talk about, Trevor, you've got that tip around phone numbers. If you are cold calling, you have multiple phone numbers, what you should be doing with your website so that more people can find you.
Or there's the Google My Business.
Or there's Google My Business. It's all golden.
You pick. What's the best tip share?
We roll the dice.
I think citations are not very sexy, but pretty important. So
Let's do it.
there's a lot of info on those other things, but yeah. So I mean, citations are really important, right? Like it's based.
Let's talk about what citations are first for people.
So it's basically a directory listing. It's like a business card around Google or around the web, right? So you'd have yellow pages as a citation, even like some of your social profiles like Facebook, Zillow, House, but a lot of, Bing, Google, those are all citations.
Yep.
And not necessarily the more the merrier, but the higher quality, the better.
Okay.
You could get on business directories that don't really last very long. These directory websites kind of come up and then they're gone, right? Yeah. And so you built a citation and now it's gone a few years later. You kind of want like the high quality ones, like, Bing, Apple Maps, the ones that aren't going anywhere. And they're not very fun to do. It could take a while to kind of get in there. I remember I built like 7 of them and it took me like 2 hours and I was like, screw this. My time is worth way more than this. So, there are services. You guys have a service right through the marketplace that does citations. I went another route, which it's not for everyone. Yep. It's expensive. I started using Yext.
Yeah, which is good.
It's $500 a year to do the citation, but it builds 70 of them for you, and they're all high quality. And it gives you a ton of spots to upload all kinds of stuff, from employee profile and photos and all kinds of stuff. Yep. And what's also really cool, if you ever change your phone number or your business name or anything, you change it once in Yext and it changes it across the board.
That's the cool part of it, because when you're building out citations, like Keith was saying, if you're doing them onesie twosie, you're usually having to set up like a new login for each one of those things, right? So it's like a login for this one and this one and this one and this one. Yellow Pages, Yellow Book. I don't even know if those are a thing now, but they were good citations back in the day. You have a different login for each one. Like Keith was saying, then if you move or you change your phone number, you still want your phone number on all your citations to be the same. You still want your mailing address and all your citations to be the same. And so if you move or you change your phone number or you change your company name or something like that, then you have to change all of them, or otherwise your citations don't work as well. So that's where Yext is a great tool, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, and another little thing that I kind of like about it is you could upload a photo in Yext and it will upload it across all your platforms.
Dude, that's cool.
Like I don't really post in Twitter ever for Kind House Buyers or Instagram or like but like a LinkedIn or something. But you could post stuff right there, boom, and it'll drop it all. And so, just send social signals for like the least amount of time and effort possible, but you're still getting the social signals that help you guys out.
Dude, so are you still let's kind of pretend someone's just getting started with it, or they've had their carrot site for a while, but they haven't done any citations. They haven't done any backlinks. What would that look like as far as doing your citations? Do you do them all at once through Yext, or manually? Do you do a certain amount of time, a certain amount of them each month? Do you continue doing them ongoing, or is it more of like a one-time set it and forget it thing?
It's like a one-time kind of set it and forget it thing. one thing I would do is supplement with some real local, like especially if you're like hyper focused, like in the city of Tacoma. You know, if you have some other ones, like let's just say you're part of the Chamber of Commerce, get a Tacoma Chamber of Commerce, or if there's any local Washington business directories, jump in those as well, because Google likes local. They'd rather show a local business than a national business if you have one right there in that area.
Gotcha. I'm going to share my screen really quick. And so what I did here, guys, what Keith is talking about is as you're getting, the reason you want citations is to help get your website ranked higher in Google. And one of the ways that Google does that is they look at the trust and credibility of your website. And the more trustworthy and credible websites, those directories that link to yours with the same phone number, it's called the map, but the same phone number, the same address, the same company, or the NAP, same company name and things like that, then it goes, oh, this is a legitimate company. It's the same information across all these legitimate websites, all linking back to this website. And there's even citations that don't have a link to your website, but Google can pick them up and they go, well, this one has the same company name, same phone number, same address. It doesn't have a website on it, but they still recognize it with all the other ones that have the website, and they can tie it together knowing, hey, this is a legitimate company. So what I did was, like Keith said, you want to set up your the citation. We have a citation service in our marketplace. Go check it out. I can't remember what it costs. $5 a citation, something like that. It's around there.
$2.99 or something.
Yeah, it's go check it out in the services marketplace at Carrot. We can get a bunch of them done for you. Or there's the service that Keith mentioned, that's yext.com. The benefit with Yext is, like he said, you can do an update in one spot through there, and it's going to distribute those updates everywhere. Drawback is it's an ongoing recurring payment, but either way, you're still going to have to invest something. If your address changes in, you're going to have to invest a bunch of time to go change all the citations. So just what do you value your time with? But then this is what I did. I just went to, if you're in Seattle as an example, I typed up Seattle Online Business Directory. And then down here, just right there at the top, I don't know if it's a good legit one, but it's there. So just kind of do some research and figure out if there's any good business directories. I don't know if that's a good one or not, or legit, but just go check it out, guys. Like I said, Chamber of Commerce. If you are, donating to charities, see if they can list you on their site or anything like that.
And one more thing too, also real estate directories are really good. Like, get a connected investors account.
I got you. Cool.
And Agent Drive, there's a few that are real estate related. Active Rain, that was a really good one. And then what it also does is you dominate the first and second page of Google for my business name. Before, if you Google Kind House Buyers, I might be there. And then like other house buyers were also taking up my page. Now my directories, my listings and podcast episodes and everything take up like the 1 and 2 page on Google. So no one else could accidentally click on someone else's profile.
That's a big
and steal my, my juice from my brand.
Especially for kind of the more generic type of names, right? Where if it's Keith Sant buyshouses.com, it's probably a very, very specific name that you're not gonna have a lot of competition for that. But Kind House Buyers, or whatever, just a generic name. It could even be like a location like Dallas Home Buyers. There's probably a lot of companies that have the phrase Dallas Home Buyers all over their website. And so if you build up that citation profile and your company name is Dallas Home Buyers, and then you set up the Google My Business using that company name, and set up your citations using that company name, then you're going to start to, like he said, dominate when people search for your company name. And they're going to find you, not your competition. An amazing strategy that we'll teach people is look at your competition in those competitors. If you're looking at on the SEO side of things, like as an example, We Buy Ugly Houses, right? It's a big public company. You can't call your website that. You can't put that in your title tag. But way down in your page somewhere, I might have We Buy Houses in Dallas, Texas on here, but I might put the word ugly somewhere on my website a couple times, but not in order of We Buy Ugly Houses. It'll be like da-da-da-da, and then some bullet points down there. We buy houses that look good, that look ugly, that are in this condition, that condition, high price, low price. And so if you look at your competitors' company names, you can start to work in some of those kind of generic phrases. If people Google their name, you might have a chance to pop up for their name. But dominate the citations, pay for ads to for your company name as well. to make sure that people go to your site rather than someone else's site. And one extra thing, kind of off topic, but your top competitors pay for ads where people search their name as well. And then have something in the ad that basically says, the top rated home buyer in the area, or there's a reason why, whatever, is more home sellers choose Kind House Buyers in Tacoma, or, hear from 42 home sellers who chose Kind House Buyers over the competition. And then it drives to like the reviews page or something like that. So a couple things you guys can do.
Rock and roll. Well, that's about it. Unless we have any questions popping in the chat. One thing I want to mention before we hop off here real quick. So Francisco, congratulations again for getting your first carrot lead while watching this, or maybe not first, just get a carrot lead though. So we're doing something special through the month of September, which is, well, shoot, if you're listening to this on the podcast, too late, sorry. But if you're watching this live through tomorrow, we're running a discount special on something we call the 30-day authority building challenge, which we almost never discount our products, never discount our trainings. But if you haven't got your first carrot lead, if you have a carrot site, you haven't really taken the time to get it dialed in, or if you haven't switched to carrot yet and you're thinking, I just want some help, could use some guidance through this. I want to, you want us to help you learn how to get your paid marketing and your SEO and all that dialed in. 30-day challenge is like the best shortcut to go get that done. So for the rest of September, 50% off. It's $49, carrot.com/30. Super easy. I just want to throw that out there. But any last words, Keith? Anything you want to throw in there?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Like SEO, it's a long game, but a year from now, you'll wish you started today.
Yep.
That's what I tell people. Like it's worth it, because when I first met you, I was doing a ton of ringless voicemails and like spending way too much time. And I'm embarrassed to tell you that I told that I've been barely working and making a lot of money. So,
dude, so that's a really good thing to end on right there, actually, because the first carrot camp that Keith came to a few years ago, it was right before he had his first $100,000 a month, which is a huge milestone. Like most people will never hit that, but he set a goal and he put his head down and put in the work. He was doing tons of RVMs, like you mentioned, lots of other types of marketing. And at that time, Keith, what percentage of your marketing or what percentage of your deals, rough percentage, were from carrots, your carrot site, Evergreen, things like that?
Yeah, so some of them were from carrot, probably about half of them were carrot, but they were also heavy on the paid.
Okay.
And like low on the organic.
Yep.
Like maybe one of those deals was organic, and then it just slowly started picking up, where it was like, I think the first year I got one organic deal.
Yep.
And I didn't know what I was doing either.
Yep.
I'm learning as I go, and probably could replicate that a lot faster now if you hire a professional, right? But then the next, then it became 5 or 6 deals the next year, and now it's like 2 to 3 deals a month, or organic with 0 ad spend. So that's been awesome. I don't have to fork out 10 grand every month or more to guarantee that money's coming in.
Dude, and that's the path right there, guys. So he was doing a lot of outbound, and it works to get deals, right? But he was also really wearing himself to the bone, because when you do outbound, you have to get a lot more leads in order to close those deals. So he was working, overtime, over 40 hours a week. You were killing yourself.
And it's just a different kind of person too. And from the time they first call me or I call them to the day the deal closes could be, 90 days to 6 months out, where now it's like typically 30 to 45 days.
Cool.
And so I have to talk to them less, I have to follow up less. I don't have to fight them to sell to me. They're calling, crying, saying that they're into their rope and please, Keith, help. Those are the people I want to talk to. I'm here to help, ma'am. All right, let's do this.
Dude, that's so good. So guys, what we've been teaching about Evergreen, get off the hamster wheel, this exact journey that Keith is talking about is the journey we've been talking about. It takes patience. It takes believing in the process and system. See what guys like Keith are doing, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of our other customers, maybe thousands, are doing the same thing right now. It takes time. You've got to be in it for over a year. Like mentally, you can't say I'm gonna try this out for 3 months or 6 months. You've got to really put your head down and say, I'm going to move from hamster wheel marketing that's killing me right now and taking all my time into evergreen marketing. For Keith, he got his first deal from the evergreen side of it, specifically done that first year, first deal or 2. Second year went to 4, 5, 6 deals. And now third year with SEO, with paid, he's closing 8 to 10 deals a month. A good hunk of those are from this type of marketing. And guys, he's working 5 to 10 hours a week now. Now we're trying to find what to get. Keith is going to be in front of you guys a lot more. He's got so much to give, and we're gonna find a way to help amplify his impact to you guys to use some of his time. He's only working 5 to 10 hours a week, guys. You're bringing in.
Don't tell my fiance.
That's right. Lots of revenue. So, guys, I appreciate you hopping on this episode of Behind the Deal. What you can do is go to our Facebook page and make sure that you are subscribing, following Carrot over there. And then every single Thursday at 12 o'clock Pacific time, we're going to be doing, every other Thursday, we're going to be doing a Behind the Deal with an amazing investor or agent hybrid, showing you guys how the deal came down, a video from the property, every step along the way, and answering any questions that come in. We have some other things we're cooking as well, so keep an eye out for any other awesome content that we're going to be putting out. Can't announce anything or talk about it now, but just be ready for a lot more amazing content that's going to come to you guys to show you exactly how to do what Keith is doing, so you can finally get off that hamster wheel and step into evergreen marketing, win your time back. So you guys have an amazing rest of Thursday. Hit us with questions at Carrots. Go to carrot.com/blog for tons of content. Go to our help center and our guide as well. They'll walk you through how to do things. And if you're not a Carrot member yet, go to carrot.com, get a subscription, get your onboarding call set up on our advanced marketer plan. Hop into that 30-day challenge. Okay, carrot.com/challenge. Or is that the wrong number? The wrong one.
/30.
/30. Carrot.com/30. Get in the challenge this next month or in the next couple of weeks. Implement the plan, get your first deal done that first 6 months, and scale up from there. You guys have an amazing Thursday. We'll talk soon. Thank you.